Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Planet Tyro. I'm your host, Donald Wonder, and it's been a while since we had a book review discussion. And you know what? Actually, this year, 2017, I've been reading a lot of self-help books. Maybe I'll do a list of some of them that I've really enjoyed this year in another video. But there was one book series that I've been reading for the majority of this year, very slowly. It's a 12-book series which is called Bloody Jack. This is an historical fiction young adult adventure novel series, and for the most part I had a lot of fun with this book. I wasn't expecting to enjoy this book as much as I did, and although I have my problems with some of the story elements, especially with repetition, overall I really enjoyed this franchise. I really enjoyed this character, and my god did I enjoy the audiobook. And the narrator, Catherine Kelgren, I believe her name is, this lady here, wow, what an adventure. So if you guys are wondering what Bloody Jack is about, Bloody Jack is again a historical fiction adventure story set in the 1700s about this young orphan girl who living off the streets of London, trying to make her way through life, very sad, and then basically she pretends to be a boy to get into like the Navy. And it's her trials and tribulations throughout the years as she becomes a legend. And again, this is historical fiction. So throughout the series, she meets all these historical people of note like Napoleon and stuff like that. And there's a lot of things you come across that happen in history. There's a lot of fiction here as well, but this is a fun, jovial adventure story. And first of all, again, I wasn't expecting to like this one. You won't say recommended this to me. And again, the first thing that threw me was I love audiobooks. When I was listening to the audiobook, the thick British accent was coming through. Catherine Kelgren. You know, actually, I had my preconceived notions of this book. Because, you know, I've watched One Piece, the anime series, and I actually thought this was just going to be a series where a young girl just becomes... I thought this was going to be kind of a very feminist story about a young girl who does become a pirate, who does become a strong female lead and goes on these adventures. And I thought it wouldn't actually be as, I wouldn't say deep, but I didn't think it would bring me in more emotionally or have a lot of character, have as much character depth as it did in the first couple of books. The first 4 books out of the 12, which is 1/3, are phenomenal. I've loved them. And this is when Jackie Faber, or Mary Faber, is really coming up from nothing. You really identify with this character because back in those days, in real life, so misogynistic. I mean, no one thinks women can do anything. And this girl pretends to be a boy for so long, and the way she climbs the ranks and she uses her ingenuity and her cleverness to get out of so much situations, and just the situation of her being a girl pretending to be a boy in a ship full of boys, it's on the base level, it's interesting, and how she fools people. But even when they find out, and it happens early on after the first book, the way she navigates her way through the pirate scene and the embassy scene, and it's so funny, and you meet all these colourful characters, but you feel for this character. And you really, the thing I think they really got right in the beginning of this book is, although she is kind of a very buckshot, kind of arrogant, kind of I don't like a street urchin. You know, actually when I was reading this book, it was like Aladdin. One of my favorite tales of Aladdin, how this person's street smart but they got heart, and they're funny and they're adventurous, and this is the same kind of Aladdin in the beginning kind of story that I like. I love underdog stories, and again I love this female twist to it, which I found very interesting. And again, Catherine Kelgren, her voice acting throughout this book is up there with some of the greatest I've ever heard, and it's because she has got to do every single voice. There is singing in this book, there are English songs, there are folk songs, there are Spanish songs, so much dialect, and Catherine Kelgren, she does so many different voices that I was so blown away. And Catherine Kelgren is a herald audio narrator. I think she's won so many awards, and just her embodying this character, this young teenage girl, was just so phenomenal. But the first 4 books had so much heart in it and so much adventures. This was like a much more enjoyable version of Pirates of the Caribbean without all the flamboyance, without the magic and all that other stuff. And honestly, those first 4 books were so great. And my problem with the series is, as the books went on and as Jackie Faber started to get more notoriety, I guess her character became a little bit more arrogant. And I like Jackie when she's an underdog. Whenever she's not an underdog, when she's got people around her, I just found her a bit too naive / arrogant / ungrateful. And I just thought the narrator was having a lot of fun with the character. But as she got more power as the series went on, she became a lot less likable. And some of the surrounding characters around her, although they're fun, they kind of wear out their welcome as well. In particular, her main love interest, Jamie. I don't know, man. I kind of wish she was single through this series. I wish she was just a single girl, because her having this betrothed Jamie, this man she's all after, it doesn't work out for her well as a character as you're reading it, because throughout the series she gets a lot of male suitors, a lot of guys that are interested with her, and she really becomes loose. I mean, I don't really want to get into spoilers, but she's a virgin through the majority of this book. You might kind of more or less through the whole series, and you know, she does things with other guys, sleeping with guys, kissing guys, and it detracts me from the story, and it detracts me from liking the character. And again, I know there's a double standard. If this was a guy, maybe I would just love her doing these things. I wouldn't be bothered if it was a guy. To the extent she's doing it, even if it was a male character, it would bother me. So I found that to be an unnecessary distraction. I would have enjoyed the series as it went on a lot more if she was just single, because honestly it becomes her and this Jamie. Will they, won't they, will they, won't they? Honestly, I've read the reviews on Goodreads. People just got fed up of it, and so did I, because it was just unnecessary. On top of that, the series becomes a little bit too repetitive, and Jackie Faber, the first 4 books is grounded and you believe how she becomes this person, but then she becomes kind of like a modern secret agent. She becomes like an Archer character where you can insert her into any situation and she will rise. And that's where the believability of the book just kind of left for me. I know it's an adventure, it's historical fiction, you're not really meant to think about it that much, but to insert this character into so many things in history, it just strayed away from its humble beginnings, from its believable beginnings, into just more ludicrous situations. On top of that, again, you got the her and Jamie thing on the side, and you know, it just, the books, as it went on, they just kept on getting into a cycle of Jackie having to do this, or Jackie's always a center of attention, and she just becomes a very ungrateful kind of, she becomes less likable as the books go on. And again, the books started to feel more formulaic, but I enjoyed the adventure on the whole. It's a good book series that I enjoy on the whole, and there's so many fun little stories here and there. I'm looking at my tablet right now because I'm trying to think which is my favorite book. I think it was book 4, The Belly of the Bloodhound. The Belly of the Bloodhound is a phenomenal book. Oh my God, that was such a great book. And then from there, it just kind of went and then kind of meandered downhill. And then by the end, I do want to say this, the author, L.A. Meyer, he did pass away before the book series completed, but he did write the ending book before he passed away, because I think he died in his 70s and he was aware that, you know, I might not live through the writing of the series. So, you know, he had the ending in mind. He actually had an interview with Audible, I believe, with the narrator, Kevin Kelvin, where he was even like, yeah, man, I hate these guys that can't finish books, so my ending's here. So no matter what happens to me, you guys are going to hear the ending, which I appreciated. The last book in particular, to me, it was like, this book could have been 3 other books, because there's a whole bit where she's a teacher. That could have been its own book. There's a big chunk where she's on the circus. That could have been its own book. And then there's the ending, which, although it was good, by the end of it, I thought to myself, the series could have went on. If he didn't pass, it didn't really feel too conclusive. And again, Jamie on the side, the little love interest, I really felt like he was just pushed all the way to the back as a side character. So, look, this is an enjoyable series. As it went on, I kind of did just feel waned by it. The first 4 books are so strong. Then 5 and 6 are okay. 7 meh. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The last 4 books I just didn't really care for. It was more the same. But if I had to give this book series a recommendation, it's a solid B without a doubt. It's above average. I love what they did with this. I would love to see this as a television series. I would just say, forget this element about Jackie and Jamie, these lovers that can't get it together. It was just the most frustrating thing about the whole book. All the reviews said it. Audiobook is phenomenal. Catherine Kelgren is amazing. She made it. I can't even praise her enough on the amount of dialect she does, the amount of singing in different languages, and she went to do all these audio training for these roles. I mean, she's one of those narrators that I would follow her. I would follow any book she narrated just because how much she brought to the role. And again, in saying all that, I think this could make a phenomenal live action television series or movie series. It's only that when the book starts, she's so young. I think she's at 12. There's a lot of rapey things that happen to her and stuff like that, which stays true to the time. To be honest with you, a lot more horrible things would happen to her. And the book, I like the way the author kind of mellowed it out. Things get intense a lot of times, but they would get more. Of the 1700s, the shit that was going on there for women and all that stuff. But it's not about that. This is meant to be a light, jovial, historical fiction adventure, which I enjoyed. But again, just to repeat myself, by the end, I felt like the book series got into a repetitive narrative. Jackie Faber became like a secret agent you can input into any situation. For the 1700s, that was an interesting avenue to take on a storytelling perspective. But for me, I just felt like, it kind of waned for me. And I'm glad that I wasn't the only one that felt that way. But on a whole, looking at the franchise on a whole, I do not regret reading this franchise. It's so special. The earlier books are so strong, it makes me recommend the whole series. And the end isn't that bad. You just get more of the same as it goes on. And the conclusion didn't really feel like a real conclusion to me. I mean, if another author could pick up this franchise and continue with it on, even though that's not without the author's consent, I'm just saying, the ending just felt like meh to me. You know, it was fine, but I was disappointed that it started on such a high, and by the end, it just meandered onto some repetitive adventure and ended on whatever. So that's my thoughts on Jackie Faber. I know I'm harsh. I know a lot of people do love this franchise. I love the audiobook series. I think it's definitely worth checking out the first 4 books, as I said 100 times now. But you know, I was left a bit wanting, and I wish the series ended on a real strong character building conclusive note, because the first 4 are so character rich that by the end it's just spinning its wheels. But you know, not just picking on this series, another book series I reviewed on the channel, the Stainless Steel Rat series, one of my favorite series of all time, suffered from the same thing. I've said this about television as well. When things go on too long and it doesn't feel like the author has a way to get the narrative to a crescendo on a character level, and it's just some kind of adventure, I kind of wane off. That's why I don't like TV series that go on forever, because it just feels like they're just doing the same thing. And that's the problem I had with this book. But overall, I gave it a solid B. I still think it's enjoyable. Check out the audiobook series. Absolutely phenomenal. Rest in peace, L.A. Meyer. I still think what he did with the concept was fantastic. 1700s, it is like seeing this woman go against the grain throughout this series was just a great idea. And I would love to see this as a television series versus movie series. This might do better as a television series, you know? But guys, if you've read this book series, if you've never heard of it, let me know what you think. Again, those early books are so good. I would highly recommend checking out a sample. I know it's on Audible, on Amazon. But if you've seen this, if you've read the book series already and you know you have an opposing opinion, you think I'm being too harsh, as always, let me know in the comments down below. It was a fun read without a doubt, but you know, it is what it is. I was fair and honest in my opinion, as I always am. But guys, I'm gonna leave it at that. Guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for listening on the podcast. If you're not watching on YouTube, if you are listening on YouTube, I appreciate it. Give us the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below, and we'll leave it at that, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next discussion. Take care. Peace out.